Welcome back, everyone, to Web Gaming Entertainment. I am with you again, Walter, here. I'm with you again for another update video for the game. And there is a lot that has gone into the game at this point. I pretty much... that humming is going to be loud, so I'm going to stay away from those areas. That's the computers, which are very loud at the moment. So don't mind me, guys. I have to do some tweaking on that. But there's some things I want to show you guys today. We've been pretty much working on a lot of the management aspects of the game at this point, so all that functionality is pretty much in at this point. So I just want to showcase some of it to you. There's still some fine-tuning to do on a bit of it, and then there's just a few small details to add in as well. So let's jump in. I guess that humming is not going to be too bad, but it's really this room right here that has the incredibly loud hum. Alright, so let's just begin. Right now I just have a few people at this office in particular, which is the headquarters. And as I mentioned to you before, the headquarters is pretty much where all of your executives will be. You can still have regular personnel there, but only certain types of regular personnel can be at your headquarters. So we're going to talk a bit about that. A lot of this has been covered. Well, the things I'm going to try not to just repeat are the things that have been added in the blog. So please go back and look at the last few blogs, which really go into a bit of detail regarding all these different roles in the game. So without further ado, we're going to start looking at some of the menus for that. And to begin, starting off with the satellite offices. Now, as I mentioned and began to mention, there is a hierarchy for your management team, which is going to be starting with you, the CEO, the player. Then it goes down to the executives for essentially each department, but then there's the chief operating officer, which is your go-between to the satellite offices, and then you have your general managers who run the satellite offices. Then the next step down would be your regular managers, or your floor managers, if you will, department specific managers that would be, and then your regular employees. So just going to show a brief bit of this, but let's just start with the satellite offices first. You get to choose, as I mentioned in the blogs before. First of all, in the beginning of the game, you'll choose where your headquarters is stationed, what continent, and then proceeding to this specific city that you will be located in. And then from there, you can choose wherever you want to purchase or lease additional satellite offices. Now, there's only 5 satellite offices in the game right now. Plan is to increase that a bit to different types of offices based on, necessity and need. But right now we have the main pillar ones, if you will, in the game. So that's of course, your headquarters. You can only have one headquarters in the game. Then you can have a admin office, which is essentially like a headquarters, except that you can house a few additional employee types there, and it pretty much serves as the true definition of satellite office. Outside of that, then you can choose a manufacturing plant where you actually reproduce all your products. You can staff manufacturing personnel or warehouse assemblers and packers to, as I mentioned, manufacture your product as well as prepared for shipping out to your customers, stores and customers. So let me keep going. Then we have the warehouse, which is not in the game just yet, but we're working on the functionality for the warehouse. Pretty much a place to store your goods as they go out. But in reality, I think the manufacturing plant is going to double as the warehouse. As your teams mass produce the product, they'll simultaneously store it at the location. And the manufacturing plant has a storage capacity, so you can't just build tons and tons or service the entire world out of one warehouse. You're gonna have to be strategic about that, possibly owning more than one, or outsourcing some of the work. Okay, so then you have the research facility as well. Of course, that's where you house your scientists, your hardware engineers and your software engineers primarily. This is where they will work out of. Your engineers, of course, are the designers and blueprint creators of your products and services. So, or products and games and software and things like that. Let's see. Next would be the call center. Your sales personnel, your tech support staff will generally work out of here, but we'll get into more specifics of who you can hire at these different offices a little bit later. Lastly, the game studio. This is where all your games can be created, and pretty cool stuff. Won't dive into too much of this just yet. That will be reserved for a little bit later. So for now, just for the sake of the example, we're going to go ahead and grab a manufacturing plant. And when you do that, you'll see all of your satellite offices in this window. These will be a little more descriptive, possibly, or at least there'll be some tooltips that you can enable if you want to sort of help you get familiar with the navigation of all the options and buttons, where everything is in the game menu-wise. But this is where you'll get the full list of all your satellite offices that you have, as well as your headquarters. Right now, what's planned in the game is that you also be able to relocate your headquarters if you decide later on, which allows you to upgrade. Like if you start off, typically you start off as a small headquarters, but then you can upgrade to much bigger ones. So yeah, working on that now too. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump in. This serves as your the sort of the panel, if you will, or dashboard for this specific office. So this is your warehouse, one of your warehouses, if you so decide to own more than one. And there's going to be more information, I believe, that we're going to decide to show on this particular screen. But as you see it now, this gives you an idea of what you can expect. You'll see a snapshot of the budget for this particular office, showing the lease expense, utilities expense, insurance expense, equipment repairs, and which will change. Actually, I'm going to actually show something else right there instead of equipment repairs. As you drill down and get into some more details under the office management window, you'll be able to see every expense that this office generates. Okay, of course, then last one, you'll be able to see salaries expense. And then to the right here, you'll get a nice snapshot of a few things. So here it would be the happiness of this particular office. The one out here is the overall happiness of the entire company. So this is the overall happiness of the entire company, as well as the overall talent and skill of your company. So this is like a good indicator of how talented your company is, if you will, the level of skill and expertise that your employees possess. Okay, and then of course for this one, as I just mentioned, it's just for this specific office. So this way, you can manage office by office, kind of see where your weak points are, which is pretty strategic and handy if you ask me. But here you'll see the types of employees that you can hire at this particular office. And as you can see, this is incorrect, so I have to make an adjustment for that. You won't be able to hire research and development employees for a manufacturing plant. Change that too. But you can hire manufacturing employees, and you can hire finance and human resource employees. Now, human resource and finance employees are pretty much your mainstays for pretty much every office that you can have, because they're actually required for every office. For example, your human resource employees are responsible for multiple things as it relates to your employees. So at this particular office, so they handle, to a degree, employee happiness, and they also handle the training efforts that you want to utilize at this office. Lastly, they also handle recruitment. So when you hire recruiters, they actually boost your ability to attract better talent, if you will, and we can always talk more about that later, but you get the idea. Finance employees, pretty straightforward. You have your accounts payable, accounts receivable. Those are the two employee types inside this department, and each do different things. So your accounts payable employees, they handle all your expenses, bill pay, things like that. They pay bills for this particular office, or at least they handle the management of it, and that's going to be quite important. And then your accounts receivable employees, they handle any payments that might come in, or any, and some other things, because not every office generates income, but still they're responsible for managing the funds of the company, and even when you're, giving them money, so to speak. So when you designate a budget for this office, your accounts receivable personnel handles it. So you want them to be pretty good, because you don't want dollars and cents falling through the cracks. But we'll speak more about the gameplay with that later. Then, of course, your manufacturing employees. You need those guys, and that's the bulk of what you can hire, as you can see, because these are your guys who will be shipping orders. And in this bottom area here, I don't have any examples to show you right now. I'm still building that functionality in as we speak. It's going to be pretty quick once I do it. But essentially, you'll see every product that you are manufacturing at this office, as well as shipping. So you'll see the total of orders to be mass produced and shipped, how many were ordered, and then how many have already been shipped, and then the progress of the overall order, so to speak. So you'll see probably some tweaking to be done there too, but you'll see it's pretty much just designed to let you know what's happening at this office, which products you're mass producing at this particular office and whatnot. So, and then lastly, the left bottom screen part of the window here is for your general manager, who's actually managing this office. We don't have anyone here yet, but I'm going to actually hire somebody, and we're going to go right into a little bit of that real quick. So let's actually staff this office a bit. And a lot of these windows are still works in progress, but for the most part, we're pretty much nearing the final quality, and we're moving very close to finishing up the game. So pretty excited about that. So here we are. This is now, mind you, I'm gonna preface this first. It seems that there's a lot of clicking in Windows, but the beauty of the game is that you have choice, you have options. You can delegate a lot of this to your general manager. So if we decided to hire a general manager first and say, hey, this is, you're over this office, I need you to go ahead and do A, B, C, D, and E, he would actually do that. Case in point, before we even do this on our own, I'll show you. Right now, as I have it, I don't have, well, you know what, actually I do, because we have guys at the headquarters, and what you'll normally see is which office that these employees are currently at before you decide to hire them. Now, as you can see, I have a lot of duplicates here, and that's because of an error that I have to fix. Quite easy to fix, though. Just slipped through the cracks before this update. But essentially, you'll see every employee here ranked by their leadership or their GM skills, so to speak. The skills you see here are their GM skills: leadership, administration, and project management. And we're going to expound on that a little bit too. But I'm not going to hire anyone just yet, but there will be an option to hire externally as well, so you won't just have options. Let me go ahead and pause the game too. You won't have options just within your company, but as it stands now, you can hire from within, and these are some of the options you have. But there'll be another one where you'll be able to choose to hire from outside of your company. So for now, let's just go ahead and start staffing a bit, and don't mind my little Windows function or lack of functionality here. But all right, so as you can see, it's every department has different roles within it, and I'm going to just touch briefly again on some of those as I hire and fill the company. So as I mentioned previously, the recruiter pretty much is responsible for increasing your ability to attract good talent. So the first order of business probably will be to get good HR recruiters before you really start working on hiring or mass hiring efforts, if you will. So you can look through here. Of course, there's standard skill for the role, and as it pertains to recruiters, you probably want to look for insight. I don't know if that's the final term I want to use, but insight is their ability to evaluate, and I think I'm going to change it to evaluation, employee evaluation, but their ability to evaluate talent. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and see who has the greatest skill there. And now, mind you, this is also, these candidates are pretty much the candidates for any HR role. So when we click on the different positions, it's not going to give us brand new candidates. These are all the same candidates. So when you look at orientation, this is what this particular employee or candidate is really good at. You may want to save him for a role specific that would really use that orientation and training skill. And orientation and training is slightly different. However, they both serve the HR trainer role. So we'll probably hire that guy for the trainer role. And as you can see, his talent is not always in abundance when it comes to these employees. That guy is pretty impressive. All right, I'm gonna hire this guy as a recruiter. Let's go to the trainer. Probably want to hire that guy, right? I'm actually gonna hire that guy as the employee, or I'm sorry, the HR administrator. So let's just go down. We got the, okay, so trainer, I can hire her as a trainer. Let's get that administrator. He's expensive though. And what you'll see is the position salary average. So this, you'll see it's pretty straight, consistent for each of these employees, because this is the position average for the HR administrator. So this is worldwide. This is your average salary for the position, and typically every candidate evaluates their skills against that. And as you can see, Ted Chandler here believes that he has a pretty good skill level, so he's pretty much demanding a little bit more than the average salary pay. And I think we already, yes, here he is. This guy's at 46,000, so you can see he understands his value there. Okay, so we're at 3 of 5 right now. We could add more, but right now I think that's good. Let's just start adding some of our accounts receivable, or filling some of these roles. And I think it's still some tweaking as far as the skill sets for the finance personnel, but and I'm gonna fit that in there too. But this is money management, market management, and negotiations. Money management is pretty much universal for every position related to finance, or both positions related to the finance role. And market management is something different. Once you get to dealing in the stock market, you'll want finance personnel who are pretty good at that to assist your CFO in operating your stock, if you so decide to offer it. Negotiations has everything to do with different discounts and deals that you can actually get if you have those talented individuals working for your company. So not a lot of skill present, a lot of management ability, but not a lot of skill. So I'm gonna hire just random here. I'm probably gonna get a third one for the management skill if I can find someone who's, because generally your leadership, organization, communication, those are leadership skills that have a lot to do with any leadership role you can actually fill with any of these employees. So I'm just gonna be random there. So we have 3. Let's go ahead and just grab a bunch of these warehouse workers. Won't be too specific. And again, as you can see, it can get a little bit interesting if you're trying to hire manually. But there will be a way, like I was alluding to, where you can delegate this responsibility to your GM. They'll handle all the hiring, and that way you can get it done faster. You can also designate how you want them to go about doing it, and I'm going to show you some of that soon too. So we're just going to hire 8 manufacturing employees right now. And then now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, this is not yet functioning, but you'll be able to manage teams. And this goes to what I was speaking about with the employees and then floor managers. So you can actually set these teams up yourself if you want, or you can at least see them once they have been set up by your general manager. And if you want to make changes here and there, you can definitely do that. All right, so right now you can see we have a really high bill, but this is I think this is the yearly rate. This is the yearly rate, so we're gonna change this to the monthly rate. So because basically all your expenses shown are based on a monthly rate. So there we go with that. So now to the left hand side, guys, what we're gonna do is actually hire one of these guys as a manager. And again, like I said, normally you'll see which office they are working out of, and then you also be able to see, well, I'm gonna actually put it in, what role they're filling, so that you know exactly what you're pulling away from, if you will. So I'm just gonna hire the guy right on. Actually, his leadership skills way higher, but administration, he's up top here because I guess overall his skill is better than the next guy, because it goes in order. So your top candidate is actually your most qualified. So I'm actually going to go ahead and grab him. I think, yes, he was a human resource individual. So I'm going to go up here and get another recruiter. I think that's good. All right, fill that role. All right, so now we have a general manager, and there's two more options now that we have. Typically, whether you have a GM or not, you'll be able to go into office management. But you will not be able to get an office report if you do not have a GM at or managing an office. So let's just take a quick look and see what options we have when we go in here. What do you know? And I'm gonna make sure the typing sound is a little less annoying. But you get to communicate with the GM and get information from him based on what's going on at this office. So just a little quick greeting. Hello, how are you doing? Is there something I can assist you with? There's so many different things or options we have, and this is still being finalized. But you can give him a raise. You can give him commend him for a job well done if you believe he's done well. You can reprimand him if he's not doing. And then once you click this, another dialog will come up, and you can choose what you're reprimanding him for or commending him for, and that actually has an effect on him. So it does have gameplay ramifications. You can also speak to him personally about his own desires, wants, needs, happiness levels, and whatnot. But generally, these first 5 are going to be related to the office, and we'll start off with the full office report. Pretty much breaks everything down in one sitting. But if you want to get specific details, you'll be able to click on some of these. So I'm going to go ahead and start with, let's find out about our employee happiness at this office. Soon. Okay, so he doesn't have any information from me there. That's awesome. All right, let's try office talent. See where we are. We should really look into increasing the level of talent in the office. Our staff is less than adequate in the skills department. Okay, good information. Let's click on budget details, see if there's any information there. Okay, I'll work on that and get back to you, boss. All right. Now let's see about the full off. Let's see what recommend. Now let's try office report first and see what we get. Staff here as a whole seems to be content. We should really look into increasing the level of talent in the office. Our staff is less than adequate in the skills department, so he's pretty much reiterating that. I will have more details about other aspects of the office soon. Okay, so that's our full report as of right now. So right now the staff seems to be happy enough. Apparently he's not too thrilled with the talent at the office. Feels like there's room for growth there. He says our let's see, our staff is less than adequate in the skill department. I will have more details. So not much details. We just hired him, so it's not much that has happened at this point. Let's see, recommendation is probably going to be a reiteration of what we've already heard. If there's anything there. Nope, no information for that. So we're good. But as you can see, the idea is to allow you to get real-time feedback, detailed feedback. It'll be more detailed too. I'm actually working on the algorithms for how they feed information back to you. So this is a very basic implementation of it. So expect that to get a little bit more robust as we go forward. But as you get the idea, though, you know, with the general manager, you can get really detailed information without having to go look yourself. Otherwise, you would have to go into manage teams, look at every employee, or well, first of all, you can get a glimpse right here of the skill level, and this is what he was speaking of. So this is like a collaboration, not collaboration, a combination of every position and its most important required skill, and then it averages out that across the entire office. So as you can see, for all the important skills for the roles that are performed at this office, really not the greatest amount of talent across the board. Happiness seems to be okay. Then again, I need to make sure that this is actually, I do believe I have that functioning already, but I will make sure I go back and double check. So there's that. Now the last piece to this is the office management, and this little window here. I'm working on the click and drag too, guys. That will perform and it will perform much better when the game is released. But General Manager Office Management Delegation Details. That's a very long-winded title there, but I think you get the idea. So here is where you'll be able to delegate responsibility to the GM. Now, when you do that, I'm going to actually explain a little bit because some of the functionality is not yet in just yet. But for office personnel management, you can delegate responsibility. First of all, you can delegate the responsibility to the GM. So once this is clicked, he handles it. He'll actually hire based on your designations and his own desires too. But you can always override the GM. However, you can also let them handle it themselves based on their own judgment, and they'll do things according to what they feel is best. So while we're out here, let's just finish looking at every option. So there's two main areas of delegation. It's office personnel management, and then there's office management, and I'm going to make that a little bit more distinguished as far as the terminology. But the idea is you can give them permission to handle all personnel management and personnel matters, from hiring to firing, and then you can pretty much dictate a few more things. So let's just go one by one, and let's just jump into this. This is unfinished window yet, but you probably get the idea already. Pretty much this is where you, the CEO, can designate the talent cap, if you will. So for example, if for the HR administrator role, if you set this up here, and I'm going to probably give a little bit more information about this, but this means that you don't want the GM to hire any administrator that has a lower skill than where you have it at right here. So this is where I would say roughly 75% of the average talent for this particular role in the world. You want to hire people who are generally 25% better than the average. So this is the type of talent he will always search for, and he won't hire anyone less than that. So if there's another aspect to this too. If your company doesn't really, if your company and your HR personnel can't really pull that level of talent, then the GM won't be able to hire anyone until you either relax the requirements, or your company starts to gain that prestige, and your HR personnel becomes good enough to create incentive programs or recruitment programs that really reach out to the higher talented individuals. But here's your control over the situation. Although you delegate the hiring to the manager, you can still have a bit of control of who he hires and how he goes about doing it. And this is that screen. You can also dictate if you want to have him fill the entire office. This is the actual office capacity, which needs to be changed because that's not accurate. Oh, actually it is accurate, right? This is just the max for each position, but here this is a max capacity of the office, and you can pretty much set that. So regardless of so there's three controls here: the control of the type of talent that can be hired, and then the control over how many people or how full you want the office to be staffed. And that's what that control is. Well, of course, the window's not complete yet, so this is not final quality. But lastly, just to touch on this one last time, if you uncheck the office personnel management, this GM will not hire a single person, and he will not fire a single person. He would just pretty much be there and report to either you or the COO as it relates to personnel matters. But if you keep that clicked, he will always, if there's too much of one position, he'll start to lay off individuals and things like that. So you can leave all that in his control. Now, delegate office management. This is a little bit different. You'll be able to delegate how he administers the budget and things like that. And I'll go into more detail for this one a little bit later. But you can pretty much get an idea of what that is. Now, lastly, let me see. Let me take that off again. This is what I wanted to show. So the way this, right, and this is actually ties back into that office management option. So with the office, I will talk on that right now. Speak on that right now. The office management aspect of it pretty much allows him to handle budget related things, as I mentioned before. And what that entails, as you can see on the right hand side here, is the different budgets related to different aspects of the office. So, for example, furniture expense. This is the quality of, as you can see, furniture that you allow this GM to buy. Now, when you delegate that responsibility to the GM, he actually manages these four on his own based on the allocated budget you give him, because you actually designate budgets for all of your offices, and typically they won't go over what you designate. So you set a cap, or you just pretty much give them a certain amount, and it's up to them to budget that money a certain way and allocate it properly is what I'm trying to say. So you designate the budget numbers, they'll designate, or they'll choose how they divvy it up. Or you can take the delegation away from them and you can handle it yourself, and they'll follow your guidelines. And that's what this is right now. So I'm setting it myself, and this is exactly the guidelines he'll stick to. However, if my budget doesn't allow it, if the budget that I allocate to this office doesn't allow it, he still won't be able to meet these. And he'll do the best he can with what he has. However, if I'm setting this, then typically it will also set the budget to handle that full amount. So when you do change these, so you can almost strike the last thing I just said. When you actually set these, it sets the budget for it as well. However, when you choose for him to handle it, he'll look at what you've designated as far as the total budget, designated for this office, and then he'll divvy it up accordingly for all these specific fields here. And let's just talk briefly about the fields. Furniture one is furniture quality, has everything to do with the comfort of your employees. The higher, the better, of course. The lower, the less comfortable they'll be. Then we have office equipment. This is much more to do with manufacturing. So is the machines that the and assembly lines that the employees use. So the better the quality, the less chance of faulty products and things like that. Just different details like that. We'll get into more of that later. And then supplies, for your finance people, the papers the paper quality that they use, the pens, the pads, the mice, not so much computer. The computers and things go along with furniture and equipment, but supplies is pretty much the everyday. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know why I'm trying to really explain that to you, but you get the point. Then office janitorial requirements. This has everything to do with the cleanliness of your office. I know, really minute details here, but I just figured give that full control to you, the player, to designate how you want that to be. But of course, cleanliness, it matters differently to different employees, so just something to be mindful of. And that's pretty much all the details I have for you right now as far as managing specific offices. But as you go, it's a very key part of the game. And like I said, there's more delegation to happen there, because you can have them report to your chief operating officer. Then you can go to your chief operating officer. He'll provide you details for all of your satellite offices in one sitting, rather than you having to go around to all of your satellite offices to get updates. So again, it all goes with the micro-macro aspect of the game, micromanaging and macro-managing, if you will, of the game. So when you start the game off, you're a very small company. You probably just have the headquarters. Very easy to manage. Very easy to just pretty much have a very hands-on approach to it. As you start to progress and get to the late parts of the game, and the game starts to really expand on you, you got a bunch of different offices. it becomes challenging to want to really have a hands-on, approach to things. So that's where you have to start delegating and, then looking at reports and making decisions based on what your teams are doing, what your managers are doing, executives, how they're managing their departments throughout the entire organization. So I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait to get this game out to you guys. I really cannot wait to get it out to you guys. There's so much detail in it. And that's pretty much what takes so much time, because it's so much going into the game that it's just incredible. But we believe that we can make this dream come true, and that's, so of course, as I always say, I apologize for the giving release dates, or having given a release dates a long time ago and failed to meet it. But with what we're putting in this game, I really hope that that makes up for all that frustration that you might feel. But the game is it's really coming together. It's really coming together at this point, and it's looking good, and it's playing good. Still a few more things to add in, and then we got to fine tune some things. Probably we'll have a testing phase again, and probably when the game is literally right around the corner to being released. So thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this update. Very long-winded, I know, but I really wanted to start to speak to you guys about some of the details and what you can expect to do in the game, and I hope that you liked it. Please don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to like us, and please subscribe as well. This is our video channel, and when new updates and new videos come in, you can get updates for that. Also, our social media sites, Facebook, and then of course Twitter. So stay tuned, guys. We're ramping up at this point. We're getting close to the end, and I can't wait to show you guys this game. So thanks, and I'll see you guys soon.